we've got the Avengers Endgame Encore runtime. I'm thinking an extra half an hour, maybe. Or maybe some footage of Doomsday at the end. Let's find out.
All right, we have the official runtime for Avengers Endgame Encore. We also have some news about specific runes that Dr. Doom, or I should say Robert Downey Jr., has been wearing throughout a lot of the promotions for Avengers Doomsday, but specifically at SDCC. They have been decoded, and at the same time, Marvel thought they were slick. They thought we wouldn't catch him, like Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark caught the guy playing Galaga in the first Avengers movies. They thought we wouldn't catch him, but we did. They're doing some Young Avengers promos kind of behind the scenes, but we see what they're doing, what is going on cosmically. Okay. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. A lot to go over.
Well, we have Vision's
Let's first talk about the runtime that has been officially
to see where Vision
revealed by AMC Theaters, so it is as official as it comes.
Encore.
The new version of the re-release of Avengers Endgame, officially titled Endgame Encore,
3 hours, 5 minutes.
It's going to be 3 hours and 5 minutes long, a whopping 4 minutes of new footage. But now we know. 4 minutes of new footage has been added, and all of it is kind of really focused on Loki and Steve. And that makes a lot of sense because it's really meant to, bridge that gap between not just Avengers Endgame, right? The Russo brothers have said some things that make it seem like, we're picking up from Endgame, which is true, but they're not ignoring everything that's happened in the multiverse saga. They're not going to ignore the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four. Obviously, they're going to play huge roles in the movie. So they're working some magic. But they do need to bridge a gap between what happened at the end of Endgame and what is happening in Doomsday. And that really revolves around Loki and Steve Rogers. Because Steve Rogers, there's a big reason that he's tied to the story and very connected to Dr. Doom. One reason is actually revealed in these runes that we actually have decoded as well, which are really, really cool, but we'll get to that. Basically, the rumored news scenes for Avengers Endgame Encore are these. Steve talks to Pepper and Scott, Ant-Man, at Tony's funeral, right? Probably Scott because of the quantum realm, because, he's using the quantum realm to go back in time. Hey, what happens if I stay? Do you know, all of the science of the quantum realm, in which Scott doesn't entirely, right? That's more of a Hank Pym type of question. So he talks to Pepper, obviously Tony's wife, probably says his goodbyes. Maybe he tells her he's going to stay back. Who knows? We'll wait and see. Probably talks to Scott about the quantum realm. Then him and Thor have a brotherly conversation, which I really like that. It makes sense, from the first Avengers film, they've been together, and to see them together once again in Doomsday actually is just really, really cool. It's laid up in here. So eventually we get to where Steve stays back in time, and then we get Loki visiting Steve and Peggy. Loki explains that the Avengers may have created Nexus events by traveling not to other timelines, not in the same timeline back in time, but to other universes instead of simply changing their own past. Based on what we've seen in the multiverse, they could make this happen, right? Based on what they want the story to be, they will make it happen, right? It's kind of whatever they write at this point, but they do need to establish some multiversal laws and rules.
And James, is that Bucky Barnes?
So this is very interesting. It says one universe shows Thanos dying, Gamora disappearing, and Nebula being killed. That's very interesting. But Steve will be moved to a timeline similar to Earth 616. Most probably to Earth 828, which is the Fantastic Four universe.
James
Steve
Rogers.
And Peggy have a son named James Rogers.
The kid, yeah.
Right. The movie ends with Steve, Peggy, and James living in a futuristic universe. So basically what we have heard is kind of a big plot point of Avengers Doomsday. They're planning to show us an Avengers Endgame Encore. So Steve stays back in time, marries Peggy Carter. They have a son, and then eventually they get moved by Loki to the Fantastic Four's universe. From there, when the Fantastic Four come to the main Earth 616 universe, they bring Steve Rogers with them. So that's basically what we are in for. It's going to be cool to see, just in general, Avengers Endgame back in theaters again. I'm sure people would have went even without new footage, but with a little bit of new footage, it's extra cool. So let me know what you think about that.
Well, here we go. So we're going to get 4 minutes of new footage. That's just going to piece everything together, which is needed. But kind of a sad thing that because Doomsday is getting re-released, they're going to overtake Avatar. in my opinion, I think Avatar should stay at number 1 because it's been there since 2009. But oh well, everyone has to overtake somebody. But yeah, September 25th is going to be a nostalgia trip. Let's get it.